Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and I am really excited today because finally, after all this build-up, I own a sawmill. So if you follow this channel, you know that I've been actively searching and shopping for a sawmill for over a year, almost to the point of being obsessive, because I live in Kansas and I've traveled to Missouri, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Pennsylvania to run different types of sawmills. I added up in my head that I've ran 7 different brands of sawmill, and I have a sawmill playlist with 66 videos in it. Now admittedly, some of those are just harvesting a log that I'm going to take to the sawmill or something like that, but I've really been dialed in on choosing a sawmill. And in this video, I want to tell you why I chose the mill I did, and I want to talk about what that means now for my channel, and maybe even ask for some advice from you guys on where I should set this mill up and the type of structure I put it in. So through this entire process, I've been really consistent in explaining my priorities in order are width of cut and value for what it cost. Then there's a lot of other factors after that, but those are top 2. How big of a log can I handle at what price? And for me, it came down to pretty much a clear and obvious winner in that category. And I ordered a Woodland Mills HM130 Max. So as you start at the very cheapest mill you can buy and look at what it's capable of, you're just not going to handle a log of any size with that mill, and I don't run across a lot of small trees on my property. So I knew I wasn't getting the most basic cheap mill. Then you start going, okay, how much more do you have to spend to get something that can handle a bigger log? And I evaluated all the way across the market and looked at every brand, and this HM130 Max has a 30-inch throat on it. It's not saying a 30-inch log, it has a 30-inch throat. So it can actually mill a 30-inch live edge slab. And I've not found anything else that is price comparable to this with that cutting capability. So there are plenty of nice sawmills that can handle a log that wide. But the base price for the HM130 Max as of the day of this recording is $5,000. Most of everything I looked at that could handle the same size log was $10,000 or $12,000. And that's a dramatic price difference. Now, I've never actually ran the HM130 Max, but I did run the original HM130 on 2 different occasions, and I've ran the 126. And I really liked a lot of different features about those mills. Enough that I can watch videos of the 130 Max and know everything I need to know about how it's going to compare to those other 2 mills. Buying the 130 Max for $5,000, it does not have every feature that I want. There are a lot of other optional things that you can add to that mill, but I can add all of those later. I want a power adjustment for the mill head height, but I don't have to get that when I order it. So I can sacrifice on some of the features and maybe add those later. But if I can't sacrifice on cut width, I can't buy a mill with a 23-inch throat and then say, well, later I'll just widen that. It doesn't work that way. So I really like the idea of being able to get this base unit and be able to add to it as needed. Now, some other reasons to choose Woodland Mills. They have a spotless reputation for customer service. There are a bunch of Woodland Mills Facebook groups, and there are a bunch of guys running Woodland Mills sawmills on YouTube, and I couldn't get anywhere. I could not find anywhere where someone said anything negative about the Woodland Mills customer service. And I've contacted their customer service multiple times and had several interactions, and they are very responsive. And from everything I can see, they're very helpful if you have a problem with your mill. But if you go on the Woodland Mills website right now, they have a live feed showing you what other people are ordering on the site. They have a little bubble you can push, and it'll pop up a chat, and someone will answer your questions right there. And they have a phone number that if you call, you'll get immediate customer service. And in my experience, it's someone who speaks English and knows about sawmills. And you can't underestimate how valuable that is. Next thing is availability. Some of the other sawmills I looked at had some appealing features, and I said, I kind of like this or I kind of like that. If I ordered one today, I could have it in a year. Well, maybe. They say patience is a virtue. Maybe this would be a chance to exercise my patience. I want to mill lumber today. Woodland Mills has, I think, all of their models as of the day of this recording are in stock and shipping within 2 weeks. I talked about the ability to start off with a base unit and add a lot of features to it. And there really are a lot of different things you can add. And I'm probably going to forget some of them. But you've got the power head that raises and lowers your saw head, your milling head. There is a toe board with a jack where you can level out your log. There is a fully integrated trailer so that you can take this 2 jobs. They also sell their own blades, and they've got a blade sharpener and a tooth setter kit. So I'm really excited about my choice of mills. And really, at the end of the day, after looking at the entirety of the sawmill market, this was not a difficult choice for me. This was not, I decided quite a while back what I was going to get, but I just kept looking just in case I was missing something. Now the next question is, I've got a mill that's going to be here any day. Where do I put it? Because I did not order the mill head cover, which probably should have went ahead and ordered it, but my thought is I'm just going to always keep this mill inside. And right now I only have one place to do that, and that's why I'm in this Quonset hut. I ordered the mill with 1 track extension. So my track will be 17 foot long. Let's say maybe the whole thing is 20 foot long. This building is 30 foot wide. So for today, I think the sawmill is going to sit right about where I'm standing, which is about probably 15 feet from the end of the Quonset hut. So it would take an extreme amount of wind and rain to blow any moisture in here. And that is a temporary location, but the permanent location is going to be what I'm really excited about. I'm going to build a building specifically to house this mill. And I've spent the last month just obsessively looking at sawmill sheds. I'm going to reach out to some of my fellow YouTube guys and look at their mill sheds and see if I can get some advice from some of those guys. But right now I'm trying to decide where to put it, because if I'm going to start building this shed ASAP, I need to start leveling out the pad for it and getting everything set, making sure I'm going to have drainage around it because I don't want to be standing in the mud milling. The other thing I didn't mention is I want to build this pretty good sized building 100% out of wood off of my own mill. Now I already have several big stacks of lumber in the shop drying, and I milled those myself even though they weren't off my mill. So I'll probably use some of that wood, but the day that mill gets set up, I'm going to start processing trees and start getting posts set, and we're going to get this thing put up. Now let's take a look at the property and get an idea for where to put this thing. My first thought for a home for the sawmill shed is right here. Day 1, I'm going to set it up in the Quonset hut and start milling lumber there. But I'm drying my lumber in this shop up here primarily. I'll probably dry some in the sawmill shed. But I'm trying to think about workflow and water runoff. One consideration to put it up here is you can't see this spot from the road. And I've got so much equipment, you do have a little bit of concern about theft and vandalism and stuff like that. But I don't know if that should be an overriding factor in where I put this thing. Now we are on a hill right here. So if my first thought is to put it right here, I've built this road around the Quonset hut where I can bring logs in and a truck can circle right where I'm standing and drive out on that side of the shop. Or at least be able to turn around down here and go back out. So this spot will be accessible, but it's going to require grading. This is all super rocky ground, and if I put it here, I'll have to level it out, probably build up one side, remove from the other, then I'll have to put drainage in around it. Currently, I've got this massive berm that would stop water from running down this way. I'm trying to decide if I put it here, do I remove that berm or not? So we've got the Quonset hut right here, the pond down there, and kind of a flat spot right here. It'd take less work, less excavating. It would be closer to get logs to it. It would be closer for my workflow to take milled lumber and get it into the shop. But it's going to be visible from the road, so I need to keep it cleaned up at least. I don't want to make an eyesore, and I don't know if I want to have everything I own be visible from the road. If you asked me yesterday where my building's going to go, I would have said up on the hill. If you ask me today, I'm thinking right down here. And the next thing is, what should this building look like? Do you want it completely enclosed with slide open doors? Or do you want it completely open so you can clean out sawdust from the back side, access your log from the back side, take the mill in and out? Feels like the end needs to open if I'm ever going to have it on a trailer. So there's a lot of planning that goes into setting this building up. As of today, I'm thinking about having a solid back wall, one solid end wall, and then having the front open and the end open. And because the mill is long, I'm going to need a really strong beam that's longer than the mill so that I can take the mill in and out that direction. Really is a lot to think about. The truth is, I've had a passion for milling for a long time. My grandpa had a sawmill when I was a little kid, and one of those big round circular mills, and something about that story and just the connection to my family having a history in woodworking, I'm just drawn to sawing lumber. Got a lot to figure out, but it's time to get started on it. We've got a few days that are dry. I'm going to be able to finish up my projects down here by the pond and by the driveway, and then we're going to start getting this sucker set up. You guys mostly know how YouTube works, and that a lot of times channels like mine, especially as they get bigger, start to get a lot of free product. And you're probably wondering if this was a free sawmill, and the answer is no, it was not a free sawmill. But I did contact Woodland Mills and I said, I'm going to make a lot of videos about it. Would you like to work with me? And they have offered me a good deal on the mill. And I'll take it because this is the product I already want. Now, I'm not being paid by them and I'm not being told what to say, but I am working with Woodland Mills. So pumped. But anyway, I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.